Hi, in this video we're going to discuss how to create customers in the studio as well as deploy agents. There are two ways or methods to deploy agents from within the studio. The first is manual installation, the second is an agent push. Typically, the manual installation is done first on a customer PC. That way you can actually use the agent push method to get agents installed on other devices on that network. We're going to go over both of these options. I also want to let you know some very important points before we proceed forth. Ports 5053, 5054, and 5055 must be open on the firewall where your host server resides for the agent communication to take place. There's no configuration needed on the client site. It's also recommended that you use DNS as opposed to IP, but IP address will work. The reason why we recommend you use DNS as opposed to IP address is because if anything changes with your IP address information on the host server, there's no way to manually configure the agents to report back to the new IP address. That being said, we're going to move forward. You can see here that in my studio I have my host server agent under the default customer, which is typically the internal network. So to add an agent on another site, I want to click on New, go to Customer, and give it a unique customer name. The host name is also very important. This is where the DNS or IP address information of the host server is going to be put into so that the agent can communicate back. Since this is internal, I'm just going to go ahead and use the local IP address for now. After this is done, I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. And the first option that's going to come up, it's going to ask me to install an agent. Typically, I like to email the URL. And you can see here that this link that I need to get on the target machine has got the IP address of the server, the port, and also the site ID that it needs to be part of. So what I'm going to do is copy this URL and get this on the target system where I want the agent installed on, which I already have a remote session for. I'm going to minimize, and I'm going to go to my other remote session, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that link that I just got from the host server on this device. And now I'm going to go ahead and save this executable and install it, which should then get the agent service running. Now that the installation is complete, I'm going to click on Finish, allow the MSP agent service to launch, and from that point on I'm going to minimize my remote session. I'm going to close out of these. I will then go to my customer A that I've just created, and I should see this device now appear. And now it's already started to relay information about memory and processor information. Now that I have my first agent installed on my customer network, I now want to utilize the push utility. So I no longer need to RDP or remote into a device to install. From this point on, I'm going to select the device I want to push an agent out from. I want to go to Add Devices by deploying agents, and I want to click on Next. I'm going to provide it with an IP address range or specific IP. For this instance, I'm going to just choose specific IP address. And we're going to go ahead and click on next. It's going to validate and resolve the target and let us know if there's an agent available for deployment, which it is, and what domain it's going to be using, so I know which credentials to apply. I'm going to click on next, and I'm going to provide it with the credentials that are needed. I'm going to click on next. I see that the credentials are assigned here are correct. I'm also going to click on next again and allow it to successfully push out the agent to this other device through the push utility. This can take a few minutes to run depending on the bandwidth of your customer's network or as well internally, so please allow this to run until complete. And we can see here that the agent has successfully installed itself from this message. At this point, I'm going to click on Finish. I'm going to click on the refresh button in the studio, and now I see the other agent device that I've installed successfully via the push method. Hopefully this was helpful to get an understanding of how we can install agents via the manual install as well as the agent push. Thank you very much.